Hi everyone, this is my video journal of my recovery from the trauma of watching my little brother, Paul Kierans, 64 with Down syndrome, be locked up by the British Columbia New Democratic Party socialist government with Sheila Malcolmson as the minister responsible and David Eby as the premier. They locked up my little brother for 588 days. We missed 173 scheduled visits. So they locked Paul away and cut off my visits with him after I complained to the Burnaby RCMP about when I discovered a year-old secret and what I alleged to be fraudulent and forged power of attorney granting representative rights to my 82-year-old Catholic nun sister 4,000 kilometers away in Ontario, who'd only met Paul a few times over the course of his life. So 3 days after I complained to the police, the government group home terminated permanently my contact with him through this nun using this power of attorney. And I did everything I could think of legally, and just by contacting Sheila Malcolmson. I wrote her every day asking to restore my visits. And then Paul had some kind of head injury on April 13th. And I discovered that the Oversight Agency for the RCMP in Ottawa had ordered the Burnaby RCMP to investigate this fraudulent forged power of attorney. But they didn't, the Burnaby RCMP didn't tell me they had been ordered to investigate themselves, their handling of this, my complaint, until about a month after they were told they had to do it. And by that time, Paul had had some kind of head injury and he was locked up he was hospitalized with the head injury at Burnaby Hospital. And after he was hospitalized, I was allowed to visit him for 10 minutes a day, supervised by this nun. So she was awarded guardianship of him on October 19th of 2023, but she didn't bother to visit him again until he had the head injury 6 months later. And she waited to see if he was going to die or not. He didn't die. He held on for 2 days. They didn't tell me, although I'm the only surviving family member. They didn't tell me until she had arrived. She flew in from North Bay, Ontario. So he laid alone for 2 days. And when they could see that he wasn't going to die, then she flew in and I had to submit to being supervised by her. Although I had cared for him at my home, we could visit at will until I complained to the Burnaby RCMP. And then when the Burnaby RCMP were ordered by Ottawa to reopen the investigation, the nun applied to have me declared a vexatious litigant, so removing my access to the courts of Canada. And after Paul died, they went after that with a vengeance, and they had a 4-day hearing. And I was declared a vexatious litigant, so I can't even file an affidavit without permission of the court. I can't defend myself without permission of the court. Anyways, I'm waiting. I appealed the appointment of my sister as my brother's guardian to the Court of Appeal, and I was not successful. Then I appealed my designation as a vexatious litigant, taking away all of my access to the court. So they took away all of Paul's rights and locked him up for 588 days, and then they went after me. And I appealed the designation of being a vexatious litigant, taking away my access to the courts. And everything was submitted by September 5th of this year. And so about 4 weeks ago, and I'm still waiting to hear from the Supreme Court of Canada as to whether or not I have permission to appeal my designation as a vexatious litigant. I was the first single mother to graduate from law school in British Columbia history in 1991, May 15th of 1991. But I became disabled in an accident in 2008, and I didn't practice at all after June of 2014. So I'm just tenterhooks waiting to hear from the Supreme Court of Canada. It's very difficult to have your future reputation in the hands of strangers 5,000 kilometers away, but that's the way it is. So today I'm thinking about Dame Jane Goodall passed away at the age of 91, and I was thinking what an inspiration she was for me. She literally changed the way human beings look at primates. Basically, they were primates, and apes and chimpanzees were seen as non-sentient beings until Jane Goodall came along, and she changed the way that we look at chimpanzees as having personalities and feelings. And she was probably one of the greatest scientists in history in that regard, on a scale with Charles Darwin, certainly on a scale with, and she was really self-educated. So I'm asking you all to pray for me. And you don't know how things will work out. I mean, I could be granted leave to appeal, and then they could decide they were going to use that as an opportunity to double down and ostracize me even more and take away even more rights. I don't know. But you just have to do the next right thing. And as far as I can see, in my fight to protect Paul's rights as a disabled person and my rights as a disabled person, I just have to keep on fighting. So pray for me. I have a good feeling. I think it's an interesting case, and it's a case of certainly of national importance. If they could take away my access to the courts, I mean, really, that's all we have. That the courts are all it separates us from wars and animalistic behavior. When my brother was confined at the Burnaby hospital and he was lying there, I just felt so helpless. But I just kept on appealing to the courts, hoping that eventually somebody would see the light. Anyways, pray for me. I think that's all we can do at this point. Take care, everybody. I love you all.